Vendetta comes from the album title, Black Soul Vendetta. Tie-in? Is it just a general sort of theme to the album? And to the...
No, it does. The album title is actually made up of 2 titles, so it's Black Soul Bones, Black Soul, and Vendetta, which is thingy.
Okay.
Not that I'm trying to be original, but I don't think anybody had ever done that before, so I was just like, and I liked the kind of the hook of that, Black Soul Vendetta, da da da. It was very melodic for me. It seemed to just make sense on the page. So when I came up with it, but yeah, Vendetta as a track is literally about losing control, like literally being so angry, being so full of hate, being so fed up with all the crap in the world that you just want to literally lose control. And to be honest, and the kind of the consequence of that is going so far past the point with it, literally just exploding so past the point. If you make this decision to do it, you can never get back, which is the lyric of the chorus, and it's a long way to get home, because once you've made the decision to absolutely cross that line,
yeah.
And that works as a metaphor for most things. You know, once you go past, you may never be able to go back for this. So be careful in what you do. You know, and I guess that was a theme for the album, really, which is why I kind of worked it into the album title. Because yeah, you know, like as musicians, we do things which we can never come back from. We may never ever, you know, we might go, right, okay, this is an album, we're putting it out, and if people love it, they love it. They hate it, and they might hate it, you know, like there's plenty of albums we've gone, oh, I don't know what they were thinking at that point in their career. So yeah,
I loved it at the time,
yeah.
Of course, on the press junkets and
yeah,
things
exactly.
like that. It's the best we've ever done.
Yeah.
And then you find out 3 years later, actually we had these
we hated
contractual
it.
purposes, and it was a nightmare, and hated the producer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how many times have we heard that stuff? Yeah,
Can't do that with you.
All we've done, yeah, it's great by the way. But all we've done, or we did this album at the time because we thought it was fashionable. We cut our hair, you know, we had the Flock of Seagulls haircuts, and you know, we did all that at the time because we thought it was fashionable. And then we look back and go, that hasn't aged well, has it?
No.
Like so yeah, but this would, I mean, obviously the song was more about literally the fueled fire of anger, literally just about going, right, okay, this is. Yeah, I'm gonna blow up here, and this is non-recoverable. This is not gonna.
How you know when you write these?
Yeah.
We've been talking about a few songs now.
Mm.
There's a lot of darkness going on. So is this something you act out? Is this something you fantasize over? Is it there at the surface? You know, when you're talking about living a lie, you're talking about somebody else, of course. But you seem to bring all this,
I guess,
angst and energy into the topic matter.
I guess I just don't feel that happy-go-lucky stuff sounds good. Like, you know, like, I think if I was to, like, if I came out with a Devilfire song and I was like, yeah, this is about, like, you know, a nice summer's walk down the thingy,
Yeah.
everyone would be like, what, really, for a rock band?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think most people tend to be, you know, even if you look back in the day at some of the earliest rock bands, you know, like the Rolling Stones, people like that, there was always quite a dark lyrical content, you know, even though they were quite up and poppy rock songs.
Yeah.
So I think I've just, you know, from years and years and years of just listening to all these things, I think stylistically it will always rock music will always lend itself to darker lyrics, and I guess I like them. I guess I like to wallow in my own self-torment. I guess it's just, yeah.
Is it cathartic?
It is therapeutic. Yeah, I've never paid once for a therapist. Like, you know, like I've never, you know, luckily.
Just you and Pro Tools.
That's it. Yeah,
one-on-one.
Just me and Logic of Pro Tools and a bottle of antidepressants. No, I haven't. Like, you know, like no. And again, I've never had to do any of that stuff. I've always really found music as my therapist. You know, it always has been. And I've always been able to, you know, in some of the worst times in my life, I've always been able to look at not just my music and what I do with my music, but other people's music. I've always been able to look at that as a big kind of therapeutical thing. And yeah, things like Vendetta, it's literally just, some songs are a story, some songs are, this happened, Tommy used to work on the docks, union paid strike, he's been laid off, and now, you know, but don't worry about it, him and Gina are going to be okay. And that's a song, and it's a great story, brilliant, wonderful. But some songs don't have to be about that. They can literally just be about, this is about a feeling that emotion so deeply that I'm going to write a whole song about it, you know, and that really was what Vendetta was about. It was literally just about, like, and the consequence of what those, of actually acting out those emotions, what that could mean. So yeah, and that was where I came to. That's what I wanted to write a song just purely about that, and yeah, and that was what came out really.
And musically, how did that get interpreted?
So with Vendetta, it's quite. I put a lot of weird keyboards in it to kind of convey the emotion of this kind of tension building thing. And then when the chorus hits, I wanted it to chill out because the chorus was all about the consequence of what had happened. So when you've got this whole sort of fire and angst bit for the verse and the pre-chorus, and it's all kind of building to a thing, and then it just kind of explodes out into this kind of like, it's almost like the shockwave after the initial explosion that, okay, that's happened, but now you got to deal with the consequences. It's a long way to get home, and it's a lot more. And that, even though it's bad, is a lot more chilled out because you've already had the explosion. So I do like to use a bit of like light and shade and colour in the way that I do things musically to work with the lyrical content. But you know, some things also. I won't lie about this. Not everything's incredibly. What's the word? I'm not like you said about Beethoven. I'm not Beethoven sitting there going, I know exactly how that's going to work at any point. There is a lot of degree of experimentation, and some things I just go, that just sounds good. You know, like playing, I'm fiddling around with the guitar. You know, I'm fiddling around with keyboards. I'm throwing stuff at the canvas and seeing what sticks, and going, yeah, I like it. So, you know, it works. It works from one way to another. So.
And do you have anybody to bounce the ideas off musically, song-wise, lyrically, or is it all self-contained?
No, it's pretty self-contained. I kind of like things to be focused a little bit. I feel that, and different bands work in different ways, and we're not, you know, like Devilfire's not sometimes the traditional band in the way that I'm not bouncing stuff off the guys in a rehearsal room, but we also don't live very close to each other, so I don't bounce the ideas off them all the time. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But I feel to make a focused record, or you know, to have songs that are very focused, if you have too many chefs, it can sometimes fall apart, sort of thing. Everybody putting their 2 pence in can just kind of confuse things a little bit. So I do like it to be a little more. I feel if one person, you know, and there are songs on this record that more than one person wrote. That's fine. But I just feel for the majority of it, I like it to be a little more focused. But
comes from within.
That's just me, you know. That's not always the way it will be, you know. I'm sure there will be other times where it's better, you know, where we've got other writers and you know people are coming in. Happens with loads of bands. So yeah.